Smokes will go out, and now with diffuser in hand, Grixer will attempt the plant. NJR is the only player that could possibly deal with this. Surf drops. NJR also gets Rexen. It puts him and Grixer in a 1v1, but his position is known. Grixer looks like he's vacated the building. Rexen will taunt him in all chat, as that Kludge drone has taken a lot of the tools from the defenders away from him. NJR will ignore the chat and go for this, but this will be an easy pick for Grixer, who gets compelled on in. Wait, hold on! But it was too late! We have cut away. I don't think there's enough time. It's gonna come down to the wire. DarkZero still wins it. You've got to be shitting me!
Now, obviously, there was an early showing between these two teams before. As you said, it was the one that got away from DarkZero, so sort of getting that revenge will be a very delicious dish on the end of this. Have they picked up an idea, or is Canadian still in the heads of their ex-team, their ex-roster? As they said, both these two teams have got themselves towards the second phase. They're not playing for the stress of Montreal. As soon as this day's over, it's back in towards prep, back into getting themselves set up to take on the icy tundra of French Canada.
The big thing that we need to focus on today is Beaulo himself. Because yesterday, Beaulo had a really rough first game. He had 0 kills in map number 1. In this match, can we see DZ strike first? Nath actually picks up 2. That is huge for him.
I saw earlier on this day when I covered the Japan teams playing their way towards the major an absolutely ludicrous echo clutch that happened where they just stayed underneath the players' feet so they couldn't shoot them out and ran out the time. And it was pretty much to clutch the whole game and series. I'm kind of hoping I get the same level of crazy here, but probably won't. It seems a little bit more formulated as they go for the drop round. They're close towards what is a default plant spot, but so is the Echo that steps in for the fight. Canadian wants to double dip inside the cold freezer as there's at least one more that's about to swing on, and the Deimos is able to get that cleaned and squared away, leaving just Surf alone. Now holding against Pamba, Kobe, and Beaulo. It's not the easiest strike force to try and take down, and with a post plant made even harder. The track is on, they know exactly where he is. There's no free space to move into. One's rotated up towards the back of White, one is just holding them down onside Coffee, and they don't even get past that. They'll start, as they often do on Cafe with most of the attacks. You get this vertical control. Quick eyes on towards Piano, you can see the player going a bit looser on towards top red, and you sort of shepherd down, back here. It's the back line of the bar. See if you can just force them out of the Piano side around Cigar, step across, and then drop down with that vertical control. Canadian on a pulse. I mean, one of the most classic pairings, I think, of man and operator. They're able to try and feed just any of this potential short on the back end, make sure that nobody gets onto the windows on the eastern side, and freezes them out on this approach. Still, as I said, steadying, force them out of freezer, force them out of the middle. They don't want to be the one that gets caught out. The longer you're here, the bigger the risk is that they are going to try and strike back on you. DarkZero needs to try and get their boots inside the building and inside the ground, and that's, again, just this forced play. They need to get this bit of motion in. There's step 1. Out of bathroom, out of the corner of Pixel, just swing into the smoke. You're going to die out there. Just cooked themselves based on not being able to cancel that animation. There's got to be a need for revenge and a trade on as they keep pushing and pushing. That 5-second window almost ran out, but Kobe does find Surf, does find at least something to stop the bleeding of losing Pamba and Beaulo and all the utility they would have offered. There's another trade out. Kobe's doing his best to hold on to this body balance, but at this point, you look at what is left in their pockets gadget-wise. They don't have the RAM to open up any of these vast angles they need to get this plant down successfully. The air jabs have already been deployed somewhere. One set of bees left, and almost Rexen knocked out from the long-range shot, but you kind of favor the C4s led by the Pulse in this utility engagement.
I like the way that DarkZero took top floor map control, but they just weren't able to secure Cocktail. Now it's NJR to do some serious damage. DZ holding the lead. Look at this, 7 HP for Ambi, 4 HP for Rexen, but even with so little left, SQ are able to dig deep enough, and as long as you've got a single point, you can still frag. 1 minute eclipsed, and right now, DarkZero on the roof as Soniqs just sit and wait for them. Where will the first advance be, and where will the first DZ player drop from?
Well, the Blitz wants to make some motion behind the blinds of the Candle as they chase a player that is unfortunately one step ahead, so they just get themselves a bit unsprung, sit and wait, and well, there's a rotate, out for some safety, doesn't get picked up, they take a while, but they're in, and the shield is just a bit away, sprays through the soft, but somehow a life survived and a rotate made, and with all this encircled pressure, it wasn't full utility throw-in, they had a bit of a cost that we heard, but otherwise, for them to get away from there, now a problem that's going to pop up later because they're a player with a C4, so go for the plant, go for the cover, go for what was an attempted explosion. We hear two pop off, neither of them connect. A post-plant situation as Pamba finds Surf onto Cocktail. Kobe gets Rexen as well. And as they want to go toe-to-toe with a shield, the air jab will be not the end this time. How many lives do they have on this stair set against the Blitz? Nate is playing coyly because Kobe has the cover. Flawless for DZ.
What an entertaining match and interesting match we have seen so far from these teams.
They get the control. Again, you will very concurrently see attacks start up here. It's just their methodology. And this is the stuff where I talked about it will be things that are known, right? I don't have to point out the obvious when an IGL that's been with a team so long changes team, regardless of who it is always going to bring A, some of that extra heat with them, but B, so much extra knowledge that you can play off. You have to shake things up, and you've got a limited time. Sure, how long does it take to workshop a map? How long does it take to change what is an awkward one to approach an attack? NJR's caught with the C4 out of the white stairs window. And as the bees and the burn don't get anybody, they're free to drift away. Beaulo takes half his health on the clipped wing of a C4, but they get at least the terrain cautiously. However, I mean, they're really just keeping themselves at arm's length continually with this pulse.
1 minute left. He'll be able to quarterback this defense using those calls. DZ already down by 1 is not the start that they wanted, not by any stretch of the imagination. Now they've got the top floor control. By the way, I haven't noticed. I think NJR is the only player that we have seen on a player cam so far. We are just constantly looking at NJR, and I mean, he's not a factor at this point. Pamazoo is, though. Down goes Rexen. Numbers will equalize, and the cut and thrust of the execute is about to be upon us.
I like the live NJR reaction that we were getting there. I think it's good to know just what he's up to when all of this stuff is going on. And with 20 seconds left, I'm kind of curious what all of DarkZero is up to at this point. Now they've got to see if they can try and get themselves down towards the plant, just tucked inside of a corner with the vertical that you have. It's awkward. You're going to go for the machine room. They drop down on the train hatch itself. They're going for the plant, but very quickly locked out there. It's in a great double take from Beaulo, but with the timer and with the fight of Ami inside, woohoo! Just dodge, dipped, and dived the right side there for that final kill. But the fact that it was just a brawl, a scrap inside the site with 15 seconds left of we've just got to send it, definitely not how they wanted that round to play out. Now they're going to see if they can still try and hunt down some utility, but obviously look at the choice that they want to try and get control of here. There's the Echo drones, which are very important. How many rounds have all of us been able to get the joy of casting? And seemingly one of the most common places for Echo to clutch out a round is this site. I don't do the numbers. I'm not your usual Jesse.
Thank goodness,
I'm
right?
your fun Jesse. That's blonde and British.
I mean, I'm not a numbers guy either. You know, and I let Jesse take the wheel on that one. I'm certainly not a pro. Neither of us.
I don't think you could
pro players.
stop Jesse taking the wheel on that one.
True. Very, very true. Right now, the middle floor is the main focus for DarkZero. They lose Kobe-Lax, who had peaked one of the kill holes. He dies at the hands of Surf. Kobe on 7 kills at this point. I mean, SQ definitely have players that can keep up with him, but at the current point in time, the attackers have the very defined advantage. And as you see what the Buck is looking for, Pambazoo wants to ensure that a drop over towards the bomb chassis by Freezer is doable. He doesn't have confidence that it will work just yet. Beaulo getting ever closer. Diffuser will be in the hands of Nafe. If the objective is going to come down, he's going to be the one to do it.
Forced out, 20 seconds. Now's your time to well, try and throw the Hail Mary. I said it wasn't how they wanted the ship to land last time, and this time they're trying to do it again. Off the back of Soniqs' hold, 5 of them still standing. Only 3 left, 2 left from the side. There's a triple for Surf, and I mean, ride the wave. It's a single player watching from far away. Pamba can't really do anything at this point other than hope that he stops a flawless, which he does. But that's it, that's all.
Beaulo's now outside, staring over towards pillars. The Glass go on in first. That's Kobe on that position. Oh my, Pamazoo missing an opportunity onto the humidor above. Pamazoo will now head for a different direction. Is that hatch open? Yes. Expecting maybe a drop to be had. Beaulo has walked into the bomb site. He's suffering through it. He sees Grixer eliminating him. Pamazoo also a kill as well. Beaulo's got the diffuser on the Ash. He will turn his back towards Laundry as Pamazoo gets gunned down by Rexen. Numbers right now favoring DarkZero, and it will continue to go in that direction. Rexen, the only player seemingly with a pulse in this round. Canadian with 1 kill to his name. His former team, 3 players staring him down. There goes Rexen. Canadian will need to clutch this one out. Doesn't have much help here through the kill holes on the floor. I imagine it's Kobilax who'll be watching this. And there's the damage being done through the wall. Kobilax finishing it off. I think that's 9 kills for Kobilax in the first half. A very impressive showing. Canadian having an uncharacteristically poor game this stage. He's actually been doing much better in the fragging department and has been providing a lot of value when you look at his EPS. You don't always need him to do well, but if Canadian can only muster a couple kills, a team like Soniqs will struggle for it. Kobe going on a jump out. He will immediately reposition. It's been given away to SQ, and now it's Pamazoo. Next one in line for SQ's Thunder.
Oh, just missed the first fight. There they have the full awareness. No, Rexen was close. You could see the drone whirring. They were hunting the player. Unfortunately, could not net the kill on the end of it. They're at least able to cut the rotate up. The track stingers will be in place. They can start getting this verticality done. The heavy work already started. I mean, between a buck and a ram, surely it won't take them a long time to get everything done. They can start actually playing focus towards the site itself. Maybe we'll get an execute that isn't something that happens in the final 15 seconds. That has been a little bit of a strange consistency throughout most of this game so far. But we are taking closer and closer towards it. I'm still sort of waiting to see where the pressure's going to come towards. Otherwise, you know, you've got the bottom of White Stairs that hasn't really had its route on through. You've got the chance at going towards Bakery, but they haven't done a lot of work, so I'm assuming it's going to be pressure onto VIP, see if they can tuck themselves behind the chassis. There's the Bakery pressure, and it's shut down almost immediately. They try to move in behind the Blitz, the back and forth, it's engagements on the far side as well. They're actually alone, but Grix somehow gets the end of NJR amongst it with a Flores drone. 15 seconds, all right, maybe the execute is coming together, but without the kit, it's not going to get very far. Sprays down red towards the backside of VIP. As I said, it's the position they need to clear, but with Ambi cut in the middle of the site, he's spinning circles in 5 seconds. At some point, Rexen, you're going to have to try and get your head down. All the cover comes through. The smoke canister isn't in the right place, but Pamba, oh, he was about to be, but someone else got there first.
I don't play anywhere. I'm not a player. I'm a commentator.
Oh, that explains some things. This explains why they're putting pressure on towards Cigar. Warden's holding on. As I said, if he wants to make a quick escape, he has options. Being shot in the face is the one that he decided to go with. Ambi takes care of some of the Cigar control here. He's still not obviously gone with any full depth. He needs the support to come from his teammates to make sure that he can do exactly this as they get themselves on towards the piano and the stage windows. He can start eyeing down the gauntlet of crossing the divide towards the plant.
That was a great play to get Nafe out of that position. They thought the nade would actually work, but they followed up and did what needed to be done. Now they've got control of piano and can begin to pick away at this bathroom and freezer portion of the map. They'll grab one of those bulletproof cameras along the way. There should still be one remaining. Oh my, Ambi getting Pambazoo. I don't know if DarkZero is aware of how exposed they were from inside a piano. 1 minute to go in the round. And another there for Ambi as he is hunting them for sport. Beaulo dies to Rexen, and a flawless round was won by DZ not long ago. SQ won't get there as Grixer down below dies. But he'll hit him in the chat. I don't know if you want to be saying that in the chat when you've only won 3 rounds on your own map at this point, but
and
I think it adds to the storyline, that's for sure. Other interesting operators being brought. Amaru on Cafe is not rare, but it's not particularly common. Zofia as well going up there. Canadian has been having a very, very bad day. Incredibly ineffective on his role as he's picked apart yet again. And a 1-7 scoreline through 9 rounds is just not good enough. Bolo's been downed, which puts us at a 3v3, despite what the numbers say. Kobe is finished off. Bolo has been retrieved because there was a dock on the board. Ambi has woken up and chosen violence at this point, single-handedly taking this DZ team to the woodshed and beating the ever-living stuffing out of them. It's all up to Bolo and Nafe.
30 seconds, and again, still trying to find the loose players. How DarkZero have moved. The pair of them rotate their way around towards dining. They're going to get the cover here, just on the door, and go for the drop itself. There won't be an immediate reaction. Instead, a tuck down. They're a couple of steps closer towards the site, towards the kit. The rotations come through from the side of DZ, but there's Bolo. Caught out, drifting in the corridor, leaving Nafe, who's drifted their way upstairs. They have known and noticed, so you assume they're going to dining to plant. They are, they have. They're away from the side of the vertical. Nafe is otherwise fishing for surf, but he's tucked so far out, he's not going to get caught. That was a very clever read there from Soniqs.
I say it every time we talk about one of these teams, and since we have both of them in the same match, Canadian moving off of DarkZero and going to Soniqs, Nafe taking over DarkZero entirely seems to have been a change that benefited both teams equally. DarkZero, obviously the best team in North America based on their record, so I think it's safe to say that they have succeeded the most, but it's always nice to see 2 teams make a change, have them both do well. Right now, DarkZero with the advantage, just over 2 minutes to go.
Now, Soniqs coming into this, statistically, were the best attacking team out of the NA League so far. 56% round win from the side of their attacks. DarkZero is a 51. However, funnily enough, they're against the best defending team. 66% was DarkZero's confirmation, 56. So a little bit more balanced across Soniqs' front and back, but it means that when they hit heads on this side, you're really getting the truest taste of the 2 teams, and Rexen starts it off still showing why they were that dominant attacking force, and there's NJR with that defensive lockdown response. Quick movement inside coat check to check if anybody's coats are there. No. So they'll see if they can try and cross the divide of the long red corridor off towards Wedding. You can see Ambi on the far side trying to get some control of Bakery, be the sort of anvil to the back of the hammer that comes across, and the smoke isn't gonna see around what happens. Close right, jiggling the shotgun, gets one, gets dropped. Canadian is at least able to keep it even, keep it back and forth, but he's stuck right now. I'm not going to say it's a rush, but they're hoping that they can draw them out of shape to get into positions to punish them. Ambi almost caught the side of Kobe, but Kobe wants to maybe step back in. He's cautious for the advance. As soon as he turns around, there might be a blitz on his shoulder. He's trusting the cover to come through. Depending on where they go and where they've gone from, there's sort of this keen traded awareness. Ping it out, get the reveal on the player and the gadget. At this point, a change of pace and a play. They're focusing instead here on towards VIP, on towards maybe hitting that soft wall on the back of White. The worry of time is still there. NJR is still worried about Bakery because they haven't got that locked down, but if they don't hear a presence there within 10 seconds, you can assume it's a bit of a full send inside, and there's the blitz. Going for a bit of an approach. There's a fight down the long corridor instead. They're jiggling every single corner. They want to go for the plant. They want to go for the coverage. There's a bit of motion here from Kobe. He's trying to dig his way back around the bar. And there's NJR, as I said. As soon as he gets the read that there's nobody in front of him, he's just got to turn around and do the damage behind. Kobe wants to step in, off the shield, up and off the top rope for the double for the end. And DarkZero just held in. Great positional awareness from the new pick. Towards any approach that's driven on towards them. Obviously, they've got everything to slow it down. The castles cutting their way here across the cocktail side, and will be made slightly quick work, but I like that their attention to detail is that we're seeing Soniqs on the previous round trying to be sharp, trying to be more direct across the floor. They hit with the blitz, they hit towards coat check. No. This is a different side, obviously, but let's slow that down. Let's put more obstacles in the way, more force of a utility. Eat that out of them at this point so we don't have to have such a quick response. Canadian gets Beaulo. With the Kirk and the Clash is gone. Not sure what trapped them so much, but apparently it was more than enough to get the kill without them even really having to enter. Curious.
Ambi has all three of those death marks at his disposal. When will SQ use them? They've already found themselves in a great spot with that pick onto Beaulo, Emmy. A lot of teams like to leave at least 2 of those marks. Oh, it almost got bad there until the execute comes out. Nave catches Grixer sleeping upstairs. And suddenly, a spanner's been thrown into the works. Soniqs realize they no longer have the top floor the way that they thought. So now it's Rexen, the reflex test. Try to draw Nafe out of this position and fire through the wood, but there we go. Canadian gets it. A relatively easy kill for Troy. And now, with 35 seconds left, Soniqs hold a numbers advantage of 1. It's do or die. They lose this round, it's over. NJR's been dropped as well, so there's only 2 still standing for DZ.
I think NJR might have been maybe trying to get a C4 play up through the hatch itself, but was obviously caught out. Here, though, not a huge amount of time, and that's the danger. They have the vertical. Canadian's just going to try and tuck inside the door and go for the plant. You can assume it's a Pamba. Steps in, wants to be the swing. The door is covered very well by Ambi. There's Kobe, predicted and caught. And pushing back towards dining from the side of the train room. But as the buck is steadying away, confident they're not going to get C4'd, but look at the timer once again. Parker, everything is going to come down to the wire here. They're still trying to get clearance down in the garage. They're still trying to find themselves maybe just sending it. DarkZero's played themselves a couple of steps away, and Rexen finally finds the first kill, but 10 seconds left, and kill might be just defined by the time at this point. Round the back, knifed in the face, and NJR getting the kill inside the site. They're going to see if they can stick it. Canadian is holding F with all of his might and does get it secured. Now with a single kill in the corridor, it's all leveled up in a post-plant situation. Locked toe-to-toe at this. Ambi, I said they might be the defining factor for their team. They will be that right here. It's a 2 versus 1. They have to make sure they are not caught by this. A rotate up towards the top. They're watching, they're waiting, they're playing the vertical angles. They don't have a lot of time to make this happen. The punch through. Ambi gets the lock onto 1. It's Beaulo from the bottom, Ambi from the top. They're looking for the connection. They don't have the time. They've hopped themselves around. And there's the pickup.
Wow.
It's all lols, but it's OT. Yeah, with these angles, they've done a good job of shepherding the players further out. You can see, obviously, only a single set of shoes currently dirtying the kitchen floors. But alongside everything watched above, it's Nafe holding on to this close power position, waiting for maybe some pressure, a ram boogie drone, or the lead-in of somebody trying to get rid of the electrics on the hatch to get the drop on it. Doesn't seem like that's the focus. The Buck is instead going to be the one that steps in, the break of the fire, the Buck getting some work and not getting anywhere close to it, keeping themselves as safe as possible from the chance of a C4. They know the game, they know the risk, and they are refusing to play right now. Just under a minute left, and the pressure on towards the hatch. There's the play. Are we going to get that pressure that they waited around for? Nope. They don't feel entirely confident. The hatch is opened. We now need to see him close down onto VIP.
Final 40 seconds. You saw the first death come in the previous round, Emmy, with 20 seconds left. Are we going to hit that same timer? There goes some of those track stingers. Grimbees will go down as well. Rexen, who watched as some of his gadgetry was destroyed, punches Kobe and gets that first pick. A whole lot of gas awaits the drop from Canadian inside a freezer. He is running out of time and will now go for the drop, but evading it for the time being. He has to run through the flames. No, Canadian taking an awful lot of damage, but he's found a safe way in. Rexen is cleaning up the entire server. Back to NJR and Nafe. As amidst the flames, Canadian stays alive, gets diffuser down. Oh my, Nafe. No, no, no! How does Nafe miss that? How poetic that it's Canadian to get the final kill. And SQ will move to map point. Soniqs on their very first match point on this map. And they've been either tied or trailing. If they're able to overcome this, it'll be quite the story.
I mean, it's kind of this surprising moment right now for Soniqs, and yeah, it's a game of 2 halves. They've got a much better attack statistic, but it's not that it was a million miles away and it was their choice of play. Pamba gets the first, Rexen, I compliment their entry game, and then they fall to it for the first time since I think the first round of the whole game, so my bad. But can they try and at least get the conversion? Nafe's knocking on the door of the site itself, trying to drive into Grixer. The cover comes, Beaulo's there, and Ambi does find Pamba, but with them inside the site, going for the plant, they have some of the security, and they're making hay while the sun shines, and Ambi's looking in the wrong places. We get bright outlines, it's easier for us to see where the players are, but at this point it's Canadian just watching players run away. They go to hold themselves around up top to make sure nobody tries to link up, and leaving just Surf fighting their way through the train carriage with the repel position on the window, with the split on towards reading. They've got themselves either side. They could play on contact if they want. They could play on the diffuser sound if they want. They know Surf, but as soon as they do, they're gonna pop up on this window. They can't see anything. So NJR sees them. We are going all of the way.
Final round of Cafe.
On towards mining room. The site that we just had the C4 to open, and it's Nafe on Canadian. Well, there's a little bit of revenge. They probably no one they would have preferred to have on the end of that C4. After what happened the last time here, they've buried some of their demons. Canadian must watch. And you said it before, they love to play big impact operators. Capital, all of the smokes, all of the fire. We've seen how effective they've been with that throughout this showdown, and how effective that operator just is. Now you've got to try and force this ground with not a lot of coverage. What are you going to do? Force them with Flores drones? Not quite as effective. At least you've got 4 grenades to try and catch the back on it. The charges are going to start, but Beaulo waiting tucked. Ambi finds Nafe, levels it out, but Pamba keeps the spread going. Beaulo's caught as he tries to rotate out of there. It's just traded back and forth on the top floor. Kobe finally finds a kill after a sort of period of not getting anything locked in. Ambi is still on the board. That's the worry, and there's a part of me that wanted to turn into a 1 versus 1 fight between the pair of them, but that's down now for the pressure of Grixer and Ambi. See if they can try and lead in on the back foot. 2 C4s still in pocket as well. They can play this so hands-off if they want to, DarkZero.
Grixer holds on to that diffuser, so Ambi, the best player statistically for Soniqs, though Rexon has been catching up, will be the one to do oversight. 2 death marks to go, and 1 will be sent out in direction of Kobe. I think that's the correct operator to go off of. Not just the operator, but also the correct player. Kobe's been that big obstacle, and I know that you wanted a 1v1 between Kobe and Ambi, but it might not materialize. That death mark will now expire. Kobe has hit the deck, but Ambi knows exactly where his positioning is and will march up and actually miss out on it. Good Lord, look at this patience from Kobe. This could be devastating for Soniqs.
They have the cross angle. They're going for the plant, and no! Sees the legs, but Pamba's there on the trade, and Grixer has to pull off. 20 seconds, and he knows one's at least far away, so he has to try and isolate this fight before the vertical becomes the death. Pistols at dawn, but shotguns are preferred, and DarkZero finally put an end to a map that felt like it could go on forever.
But they've still got 1 more map to secure their spot as the best team in North America. At least 1 more map to go, but DZ start off hot, stealing Soniqs map away.
We start here on Chalet. Obviously, DarkZero have to step up, and now they've got to step in towards their map selection. I'm curious to see how we start to break bread here on this engagement. It was not really traded rounds, but traded halves more than anything. At what point will the momentum slow down? Kobe hasn't yet. They were a star performer for DarkZero on the last map. They're here, able to get the first against Rexon, who was a star entry player. Slow and steady, just making sure that when they go for the entrance, there you go. When you go for the entrance, they'll be able to have some of the cover from above. They just make sure that there isn't anything to pop as potential step in, but nobody, no lesion, no goo mines, no pressure. Where is the blitz gonna go? Valhalla, apparently. Canadian immediately cut in half as soon as they showed a side and a sliver towards the player behind the bar, and you're sort of wondering what the plan was there. There wasn't a second player going for an engagement at the same time. Surf does pick up a freebie from the mudroom, but with 30 seconds, an isolated kit in the middle of nowhere, you're kind of a bit curious as to why they decided to go for that death dive.
Pambazoo trades out Surf after Surf had got that pick on Kobe, and now Ambi's last man standing. They know he's in Mudroom as he breaks through the barricade. DZ 6 rounds away.
Just in a different form of attack here. We have them not quite going for the snappy take on engagements. They're still unable to force the players off the top floor as long as these outlines aren't lying to me. Yep, that is still a DZ player playing around the Vigil with Pamba. It's just causing some attention here. I'm not going to say problems directly. They have to go get rid of him because you cannot just leave an answered route round because they will just route their way round towards the back line of your attack. Surf is the one that's stepping up for the challenge, but alone they can't really do much. The calls are still coming out, more flashes. There has to be something on the end of this utility, otherwise you're just kind of throwing gadgetry into the air and you may as well just put it in the bin at this point instead of the player that should be there as well. A minute left and eyes towards the site itself, but none of the DarkZero players feel like they've been forced out of position yet.
No, and there go the logic bombs onto these DZ players as well. First confrontation will be Rexen staring longingly into the eyes of NJR, just as we did in the player cams. Ambi dies at the hands of Beaulo. Beaulo has been dropped, so it is a trade for trade as the time goes on. Some damage being done to NJR as Canadian gets moved out of that position. Rexen finishes off Beaulo, so now it's a 4v4. Final 30 seconds, and it's SQ knocking at the door of this bomb site. One toxic canister goes down in front of Rexen. He has no choice but to back up, and Canadian will charge on in to deal with the clash. Will SQ come out ahead, or does TZ go up 2-0?
I mean, at this point, I'm waiting for the close down against the back end of the players. They're looking to try and get the plant tucked in on the opposite side there. Surf is watching for that rotate, but it's a double down on the site and the kid itself. The bricks are being found. Surf has to take the drop on the hatch. They're going for the clash play, but the shotgun of Naif is the actual end result of that. DZ.
Everybody on DarkZero is known for their mechanical aim. They've been known for their skills. Pambazoo and NJR are an amazing 1-2 punch that DZ used to win a major back in Charlotte 2 years ago. There was commentary that Canadian as an IGL was holding them back in ways that he wasn't at the beginning, and Naif seems to be getting pretty good value out of them. Canadian has obviously given more life to some of these Soniqs players, but not in this particular matchup, not yet. And Canadian's issues with getting kills, well, that's been another story that we can dig into later on. But 1 minute into the third round, and DarkZero are looking for a perfect rotation.
Kobe was almost knocked off the board. 6 health and a dream is what'll keep him going for now, but if he can get the drop on a fight, and again, if he can get his gadget deployed, then he can still sort of have that. I was going to say 3 in pocket, but he throws one out almost instantly. They're going to try and delay and delay and delay. As I said, what played DarkZero really well before was Soniqs just couldn't find a way to shift them. Same as on the first side, and here with the Tubarao and the touch round claw, they can probably delay and delay and delay. I was waiting for the catch on the freeze there, and as soon as this one goes, it will probably immediately pop off. It had been there for a while. Beaulo could preamble it and pre-place it, but when you're thinking about the wall underneath, it's probably where you want to actually use the end of that gadget. They got the side of it too, and I think from the pick-off angle on the side of Piano, they were able to remove some of the X-Kairos. They're just fading out the gadgets. There's the play below. There's the attempted drop to get anything on the back end of this. The C4 wants to go over the top, and so does Beaulo. Gets rid of Grixter. The wall will fall. And this puts NJR in a very sticky situation behind the dining table. He has to try and find his route out, and he does, because otherwise he probably would have had his head taken off in a second.
NJR now behind this bomb chassis, waiting for one member of SQ to wander in without having it droned out. Canadian on call E. Let's see how this one goes.
He says with a laugh.
How does he do? Walking in, Ambi the very first pick. Canadian slaughtered by Pambazoo, completely lost, looking the wrong way. A swing from above as Ambi and NJR trade out kills. Right now, numbers favoring DarkZero. They are 1 kill over what we see from SQ. The Rexen has the read on it. He's found an opening, and he will go for the plant with Ambi watching, but Beaulo still has the spot above. Ambi, tucked in the corner, will get the diffuser, and it will be rushed upon by Naif, who picks up yet another kill.
This, though, they haven't been forced as of yet. There's still a lot of time to work with. The preparation on the gadgets, 3, 2, 1, and ready to go. They're caught by the Wamai discs, playing against the window as best they can. Pamba's able to stop Grixer, gets the first on the approach, and Beaulo could go for the hop if he wants as Canadian hits the backside of the site itself, or the attempted hold even. Gets the drop on towards the bedroom. Now, with the second follow-up body of Beaulo caught out on his rotate, it's a 4 versus 3, and they slow down. Again, they go to reassess. I say as Canadian starts to eye up the stairs themselves. I'm hoping he doesn't just throw himself in again. Nafe, though, on the roam, on the lurk. Are they able to strike in time?
It's a real question, isn't it? This round has moved on quite quickly with Bamazoo and Beaulo gone. DarkZero now trails, and they've lost very important parts of this team. NJR with a single kill, Kobe with 2 kills. Nafe yet to die through all 3 of these rounds. He's going to gamble it against Ambi and take an awful lot of damage, but still get the pick, and it will equalize. Nafe, as leaders do, leading by example, and now Rexen will have to deal with him. Very limited HP, 2 quick kills leave NJR as a man alone on an island. Right now, sitting inside a back bar, there's a bulletproof camera watching Canadian as he asserts himself inside of games. They know he's in back bar, and it'll be a joint effort between Canadian and Surf, with Surf getting the final kill. I'm not sure if you've kept up with any of the Twitter dialogue. I got linked it, which is the reason why I see it. I really do not use Twitter much these days at all, but I still think it's a valuable resource to see how pros talk about the meta and the state of the game.
Yeah.
And I mean, basically everybody said you need somebody to play shields, whether it be the Monty if he's unbanned, which is unlikely, a Blitz as the follow-up, even possibly a Fuse shield, and then Clash also seeing a pretty healthy pick rate on defense. Shields are just very strong right now. That's just really what it boils down to. And I mean, if you can be a good shield player, you're going to provide a tremendous amount of value for your team.
I think the way I found of explaining it over on the couple of days I've done in the other regions is it used to be back in the day you would have great shield players and they were very rare and you would know them by name. You'd know Pengu, you'd know Anaton, you'd know Hungry, you'd know these players that can operate it, and in this case Forest, and then Shield's got the buff, and now those average players are great shield players. The bar just got lowered, and there's still technically better ones, but you don't need to be the best in the world now to be the known force and factor on it, and that's just where that bar got shifted to and why the bans have become so metrics. It's a whole play style. At the same time, Kobe knocked out of the round. The first loss here, this still driven focus of Soniqs on towards these loose players, get them locked out with the Deimos supporting that ethos. Beaulo isn't too far away. They could try and drop down West Main stairs here. They could push up if they really want to risk it, but with the Deimos, with the chance of being caught, they're on the list of possibilities, and you wouldn't expect the 1-speed roamer to be them, but look at Canadian breaking it down. Yeah, not taking chances here.
Not at all. It's a hard gun to control for Beaulo, but a desperate attempt to do some serious damage. Bamazoo got Surf. Bamazoo has been down for his trouble. As Beaulo still holds from above, Bamazoo will crawl to safety, and the feet of the Blitz are spotted by Nafe, who now needs to retreat. He softened up Canadian, but not enough damage to really make an impact. Ambi with 2 very fast kills, and Canadian rushes in, pulverizing Nafe. NJR is the last one standing, and Grixer will eliminate him. And just like that, the 2 rounds that Soniqs needed have been found. 1 minute into the round, and all of this destruction is being done on that bar gaming side of the map. Ambi has used all of his Rotero drones at this point. There's an adrenal surge to top everybody off on the Soniqs. That might herald the start of this push, admittedly, with half of the round still to go.
They have great eyes and the horror of drones on chalets. They can be buried in all the plants, on all the boards across the top, and at this point, you can see DZ have not given Soniqs one of those loose bodies, and they've started to spread out. Now they've said, we're going to play close. Okay, now we're over here on the far side. The Canadian having to cut their way up the stairs instead of pushing on the side as they did before, but Beaulo gets one, and Kobe gets Canadian whilst blind. Nafe's able to find some cement on the end of it, and it was a good idea from Soniqs, but it was punished by a little bit of moxie and a little bit of decent play from the side of DZ. They stand tall, leaving Ambi and Grixer in this do or die 2 versus 4 situation. Cover the player with flashes, force them up the stairs, try and do a bit of chasing, but The camera is revealing all at this point, and it's an awkward fight to try and take. So instead, gets killed elsewhere. DZ get themselves the 4-2. And at this point, I'm probably happier than they would have been with how those last couple of rounds went. I think Soniqs, they worried that they might have cooled off just a little bit, because they did definitely start to cook back into the game much better and better. They were pretty lost at the opener of this, and the pressure was on them to try and get their attacks steady across. And here, similar sort of game, they have the air jabs to control the rotation behind them, or in front in some cases, just cut off the loose route of these players. Ambi has eyes on the approach and wants to see if he can try and maybe step into it, but he's just drawing as much utility, as much focus, and as much attention as possible. But otherwise, it's seemingly just isolate West Main here. If they can get themselves in, get an air jab tucked just on the rotate of the door at that point in towards dining, well, they'll feel kind of confident now of being able to focus on the West Main breach, on towards the trench wall, and push in from there.
You mentioned shields being an important part of these teams and why Canadian plays those shield operators. I mean, the low-hanging fruit would have been a joke about his aim. But now he's going to play on the Clash. And I mean, because Troy is at his best when he can see things, visualize the play, and give that information to his teammates. And shields allow him to do that. Unfortunately for Rexen, he dies. He was playing on that mirror window maybe a bit too aggressively, and a joint effort from multiple DZ players has now resulted in the very first death for Soniqs. Pambazu dies shortly thereafter to Ambi, who's roaming on the main floor, and the numbers are back to even with 45 seconds left.
I like that Surf didn't throw themselves back towards the site. You only need one to be that danger man at this point as well. He can draw some attention. He can maybe try and fight back against the Hacks. They're the ones that have to try and secure the plant, and a C4 will secure the kill on the back. The Clash, again, as you called it, Canadian loves to see and say what is going on, and that grenade will force a bit of motion, but Ambi getting Beaulo. It's just everybody falling on the altar of trying to push into the site. Grixer is finally caught out. The Clash is still standing. Yeah. And reading all of this as they push and attempt to push past and get the fight, but at that point, when you have the Clash, you have the read, and a Bulletproof was still getting the backup on all that intel. Soniqs, they just kind of expected seemingly the push to come from there, and they said, yeah, you can have that terrain. Doesn't mean you'll have the site, though. Soniqs aren't, again, stepping in to contest these areas, whether it's part of the plan of saying, you can have it. Ambi's in this strike position here, tucked. It's, not the most common, but also not the most rare. It's going to be something that they'll probably expect, and if it works, it'll only work once. There's Surf put out in the meantime. Beaulo gets the opener. And there's Ambi striking back and then slips instantly out of it. As I said, we'll probably get the one usage. I would be surprised if it gets two. As the Candelas roll over, here's the first fight actually coming together. Ambi with the backed up shield and Rexen with the backed up player gets the kill. They're rolling out the blinds as much as they can. They're driving all the way in, get the execute on towards Ambi, try and keep rocking and rolling their way on towards. Catch at the top of blue stairs, revealed on the camera, hits the drop. Did they see where that loose player went? Back inside the site, drifting in towards the coat room. And it's Beaulo to check him out of it. Rexen gone 40 seconds. They have some vertical control, but they don't really have a lot of utility left to try and help them drive in this 3 versus 2. They've got 1 frag grenade, 3 flashes. It's going to have to be very direct behind what is now a call being put together, but Canadian wins out the first. Pamba's looking to try and follow them through. They have them not officially dead to rights, but stuck in a corner. Are they going to try and fight their way out? They are. Whoa. It's not going to go very well. Pamba gets the drop. There is at least a final player to find, and it's Grixer doing their best to hold on. 8 seconds, tucked around the corner. You've just got to take the engagement. The blind is on yourself. NJR still finds it. That was almost tragic, though.
This has been a round that not much has happened.
No.
I like that Canadian is on Ella. Canadian's been swapping around on these operators and really hasn't been finding a ton of success through much of today's matches. There goes the deployable shield and the drone. Womp womp. As the E1D will go out. Lion, not an operator we've seen an awful lot of. Dokkaebi has taken that place along with Deimos. And now Albi will harassed in that corner. And Well, NJR is just not fast enough. He had an opportunity to do some more damage. There you go. The fire will spread. Another E1D will go. Nade goes in as well. Surf evading this. Look at all the utility being used. And DarkZero not finding anything for it.
Surf's trying to step back in. He pre-fired just in case something came around, and it's a wise choice because although there's been a lot of the threats and the damage done obviously to the Wamai, they haven't removed the structure, but they tried to swing in, and that allows Soniqs to still play in that space, to still be a response in the small box. They push them off. Naif is stuck, watching, waiting on the double window with an attempt of NJR to get the pinch on a single player, and, well, they get gifted it, and there's Naif suddenly putting us into the 3 versus 2 as Ambi's able to at least stem the flow, but getting one, getting the pickup, 20 seconds. They've got to get this, they have the cover, otherwise they are alone. Ambi and DarkZero are going to see if they can try and step in either side. They have the pings on the play, they know exactly what's going on, and now we talk about who's going to give them the fight. It's NJR that steps through, looks for the first engagement, can't get it sharp enough, putting Naif in a 1 versus 1, but he just cannot get the 4-3 to his name. And DarkZero holds on for Soniqs.
Really coming down to the wire there, and Soniqs having to work for every single one of these rounds. It will not be a cakewalk for them.
I know there's something about this map that plays really, really well with their specific European style of siege. Ambi gets Beaulo. Gets the opener. Puts a bit of a
very early pick, by the way.
Yeah, very, very early, and onto the ace as well. If you're looking at the sort of site selection out of any of them, this is probably the worst.
You know, there's a Kali on the board. They can hear it. NJR's now found an opportunity to open up that wine wall and forces Rexen off of that position. Rexen will survive in the same spot that he died previously when he was on that Mira. Very different setup this time. Instead of tempting the attackers with a soft wall, you fully reinforced it and made this DZ team commit to proper utility work. This Kali's still got 2 of those lances left. They need to figure out where that last Electric Claw has gone. Did they find it? Yes, they did. And Canadian Love is back turned. As there goes the exothermic charge, he hears it and will moonwalk away. Final minute, and there goes the deployable shield as well. Nave being so effective right now on this Kali, and the plant is going down. Gas not doing any damage whatsoever. There's an air jab to knock over DarkZero. Soniqs wanted this comeback to happen. They've now lost 1 player. The smoke, not the most devastating of margins. The coverage from DZ will need to be even better. As Ambi, missing out on the opportunity, originally catches NJR looking in the wrong way. Rexen on the diffuser, and the last 2 players from DZ will storm down in the same direction. Rexen, though, will get the diffuser as they waste time, and Soniqs tie things up.
If anyone from the talent team was going to be like A24 enjoyers, I think people would rightly guess it's us, and rightly guess that maybe with this lineup there might be a bit of early pressure on towards the site. Pamba, the Nook, cut their way in via the bar to see if anybody's serving, but has actually been surprised by the lack of any presence. They're on cam, they rotate round, and they almost give the game away there, but DarkZero gets off and gets dropped. Pamba now has full site control, but he's worried about someone trying to find the fight back in on the door, and it's Canadian.
Where is he really running?
A couple more. Brexit and Surf and Ambi, and I mean, what was almost a very powerful snap onto the site turns in to a collapse across it.
SQ on map point, by the way. And a lot of these matches have also been quite exciting. Let's just focus on that as well. A lot of bright spots to look at in this stage. The big one right now is this budding rivalry between DarkZero and Soniqs. There goes Naif. Rexen traded out immediately. DZ keeping this very close. 1 minute. 1 minute in this round. Soniqs, if they can find these 4 kills, we go over to Border to decide this series and decide who finishes first in NA.
Ambi's gone down in the meantime. They found themselves only firing back with 3 and servers in maybe the most dangerous position of all, but do they know? Yes, is the clear-cut answer there as Kobe starts the roll through. They're going to go for the plant. They're finally able to get the player up on the back end of it, but it leaves DarkZero fighting alone for his life. He's on the echo, and he does stop the plant. He's looking for the second. They're pre-firing the wrong thing, so he'll get a free second deny here. You're kind of waiting for them to activate onto it, but they'll just cement the third one. There's the reveal from the Deimos where the player is, and the fight on the door itself as Beaulo gets Ambi from below a little bit too late to stop the plant, and that leaves Canadian here. DarkZero look like they've sent us, and they have, into our second OT of the series.
One thing is for certain. This match, which was hyped up greatly as a grudge match between these two teams with all the history between the players and the leaders on this team as well, well, it's lived up to the billing because we went all the way in map number 1, and there is a very real possibility we do it in number 2. If Soniqs prevail in OT, then we have Border as the decider, and that too could go all the way. A very spirited contest, and again, this is excellent for the rivalry.
Sets up the story, sets up the scene, and they're setting up their attack, which has always been the weaker part of both these teams on this map, struggling to get the full sort of breakaway. Soniqs were able to pull a take onto Bar Gaming before. It was the first round they got in the entirety of the map, but it's such a long time ago, especially with the tech pause that we unfortunately had in the middle and the midst. Nath, he's prepped up and executed instantly. Ambi steps and knocks them out, but Pamba gets a quick response inside the line of prep. There's Ambi driving and diving for that player behind the shield itself. They're able to absolutely uproot. That's again just another shocking run in that's unanswered past the bar, but Pamba vertically is causing some dramas. Now they don't have the kit. They're not going to go for the plant. They're not going to go for the operation at this point because, well, as proven by Pamba, they do not have the control above. Pamba gets his third, gets Rexen, gets the team still fighting 11-4 since the rehost, and 12-4 Ambi. The pressure's on. He needs to be the answer right now. You see where that kid is directly underneath Pamba. With 30 seconds, they have to make the choice. Do we try and push up? Do we try and take the fight? Do we trust that we can grab it and move on? There's an altercation on those stairs that they don't seem fully aware of. And there's the grab of the kit. There's the slow roll, the caution paid. There's a couple of positions that are safe. That is not one of them. So the ping goes out just in on the door. They can watch this from some of the locations. There's 8 seconds. You can see the Legions going for the hunt. They find it perfectly. And with that locked out, DarkZero, but mainly Pamba, keeps that round in their favor. 1 round separates DarkZero from first place. DarkZero making an attack stick is also just as uncertain as Ambi. Gets the head of Nath as the opener, and Beaulo, I was going to say, misses out on the engagement. Ambi wanted to double dip, but when they suffered the first bit of damage, and as Pamba gets the last bit, they realized maybe they overexerted themselves. They still wasted some time, wasted a Dockerby as well. Nath is gone. If your IGL's in that position of just watching cams, it's not the end of the world, but also there's still this fight for control over West Main. Think about how many times we've seen it boil down on these Soniqs defenses to just holding the site itself. It's a different story, and so far, Pamba, apparently if you put him on a floor above people, he'll just keep getting killed. Fair enough. Maybe this extended hold that Soniqs have tried this time round has not netted results. They pull back towards the site. Mira did not die that far away. Grixer has the watch, but as Canadian steps in, it's a 4 versus 3. They've obviously lost the Dockerby, but they still have the chance of doing the hard breach. There's a minute. Plenty of time to get this work done on the site as they start to tear it up. But is the clash going to become a boon or a detriment as this gets closer to the wire?
I mean, shields are always better when you've got a strong team around you, and Grixer and Rexen, 2 of the OGs from Soniqs, are great, but the numbers favor DarkZero, which means that Canadian's application with that shield will be slightly weakened as they are outnumbered quite so heavily. Down goes Beaulo, so the numbers will equalize. The shield will be spotted by NJR as it's up to him, Pambazoo, and Kobilax. Pambazoo has 14 kills, by the way, since coming back from our last rehost. Rexen slaughtering NJR from that gaping maw that is none other than the opening breach. Last one alive is Pambazoo. Hold on a second. 4 kills to his name. He's got 5 seconds to find Grixer and get the diffuser down. Grixer tucked away over in wine. Panbazoo just won't get there in time. And based on the clock, Soniqs win it for the second map in a row. We have all 15 rounds. It's a nice shrewd play, by the way, from the Kaid of NJR. He was trying to bait out the Brava drone. The Kludge appears, and right as it starts to hack the Electric Claw, he picks it right back up. Still another Kludge in pocket for Grixer. We can get it again, but as long as NJR is not sitting over top of it like a mother hen. Very limited action so far through 1 minute and 20 seconds.
Every single player still alive. The early body takes that happened once or twice throughout this throughout this map have just drifted by the wayside in OT. DarkZero aren't handing these engagements, I say, as Ambi just takes one, hoists the player, and Beaulo in the meantime is trying to keep things going for the team, but he's slowly being surrounded and closed down on here. The verticality, he was the big problem when they tried to get this territory and terrain before the blitz. Pokes their head round the corner, he's doing his best, but remember how this ended. It was with a question mark and a lull as they tried to just plant without the vertical. This time, they aren't making the same mistakes. Soniqs, 3 versus 2. They still have the blitz standing. It's Beaulo and NJR to try and get the final piece of this, and Canadian knows exactly where NJR is. They aren't going straight in, they wait. With Grixer getting that, it leaves just Beaulo, a 1 versus 3 situation. Looking for the planter. Can't quite get the angle, they're tucked. They're dead. This is map 3.
Nicely done by Soniqs in that final round, isolating those players off-site. And Troy sure is fired up. Soniqs winning DZ's map. We needed 30 rounds so far through these 2 maps, and we are far from done. Border awaits us, as that will be the decider.
Out of it and find themselves a semblance of safety elsewhere. But with 1:10, with a failed initial incursion towards the map, and with not really any rested control anywhere, they're going to have to reevaluate what they want to do. The break on towards the office wall, the idea of planting behind A means you've got to get rid of NJR. You can see they're droning him out, but as long as there is a C4 in the position underneath this site, you have no guarantee, no safety, and no, you're just going to trade a body out at a moment. So there's a bit of a rotate round, there's a bit of a drop down for the pressure, but they cannot get that kill, they cannot get that take. They have to give themselves a little bit more support. The first goes. It's Kobe caught with Pamba almost instantly following a double. Farambi gets himself off to a screaming start. As I said, Deimos is going to be that lead through. Canadian's going to see if he can try and use this pocket to get the plant. They've forced the player away from that position, and it gets itself confirmed with Rexon finding Nafe and someone else getting a kill that doesn't show up on our feed. It's all down to Beaulo, but not for very long. There wasn't anything that immediately came on the back of that. Ready to try and get this deep angle, but Nate's not ready to find the other end of it. It's Pamba that actually gets Ambi locked out. No multiple kills, none at all for him this round. How will they operate on the back foot? Will we finally start getting actual traded back and forth rounds between these 2 teams on this, the decider map? As you can see, Soniqs trying to reevaluate. Again, every time you bring a Nook, you assume they're doing a high-risk, high-reward maneuver, and I don't think we've seen it work out. There was one time where someone was able to sneak a Nook in towards Bar on Chalet, but otherwise all the attempts have fallen short. And here, short attention is paid just in towards the site. They're going for the hop, the pressure in towards detention and jail as it's open. Rexon gets NJR. The concern is that they'll have angles above, and you need to have a player on the window putting pressure so they don't just do exactly this. Beaulo, he has this angle, he has this important role to get them as soon as they try and enter. We've seen him dominate from this kind of position before, and I'm curious how they're going to try and overcome it. It seems like they're still looking for scrappy engagements. They have loads of time at this point, and there is a rotate that goes. Surf gets Kobe in the meantime, and Canadian misses out as Nafe does find Grixer. Things are sort of traded back and forth, sort of explode, but that main territory, that main verticality has not been removed yet.
Bambazoo now taking up this position over towards jail and almost missing out on that kill onto Rexen. Out goes one of those goo canisters. Nafe taking down Surf. Sonic struggling through this one. They've gone from a flawless round to just Canadian left standing. He doesn't have a ton of time to deal with. He'll rotate around with the goo doing damage in his foot. He has no utility. No secondary gadgetry either. He gets swung by Panbazoo. And Troy is worried about where these last two players lay in wait. Nafe over by the server rack. Beaulo at the moment unaccounted for. He's up top now over by Metal. Canadian will go for the plant by the double door. Beaulo will be the closest in striking distance, and he will get the job done wandering down Metal stairs. 1-1.
I think I did the Citizen game, but time is a blur, and it was in 2021. Oop. And Kobe is
Okay.
sent into the past as well, sleeping, says Rexen. I mean, it's unfortunate because, you know, you look at that first map and they were brilliant, Kobe. They've just, unfortunately, lost a bit of steam, and that's maybe one of those tells of new X Factor players, right? Is in these kind of games, this is when they're going to be the most tested. This is when they're going to be the most stressed. You can have dynamite performances, you're coming in, but marathon shows. Better to learn it now than in a month when you're in the major, put under the pressure, the flashes come out, and here they're trying to get full control of CC and security. They're forcing them out of the little cubby corner, forcing them back into long and further away from the hold. And JR hasn't entirely given it away, but Ambi gets the drop on towards Nafe. Let's see if they can pick up another at this point. 2 bodies gone, 2 of those big lean-in killers. And with NJR moving actually back in towards break and then stepping even closer, they want to retake the ground that was otherwise removed from them. Beaulo gets Ambi, goes for a chance on a spray on someone else. NJR sort of says, look, I'm not going to stick around and find out what happens next, because Rexen points it out to Beaulo. And with a minute of 4 versus 2 now, for them to see if they can try and get rid of Pamba and get into the site. NJR has an idea, but unfortunately, safety first was the MO. Tucked, waiting for the watch. Pamba has the vertical. Again, they didn't know he was there. Gets the easy pickup onto Canadian. It's the next fight that matters, as Rexen gets the security, leaving just NJR alone.
Smokes will go out, and now with diffuser in hand, Grixer will attempt the plant. NJR is the only player that could possibly deal with this. Surf drops. NJR also gets Rexen. It puts him and Grixer in a 1v1, but his position is known. Grixer looks like he's vacated the building. It's a dangerous spot for NJR to be in. He's got 1 gas canister remaining, and he has no information. He thinks that it's been an A-bomb take. Rexen will taunt him in all chat, as that Kludge drone has taken a lot of the tools from the defenders away from him. NJR will ignore the chat and go for this, but this will be an easy pick for Grixer, who gets compelled on in. Wait, hold on! But it was too late! We have cut away. I don't think there's enough time. It's going to come down to the wire. DarkZero still wins it. You've got to be shitting me.
I can't believe we cut away. Oh, we cut back, thank the world, but that couldn't have been closer.
I'm stunned. It was literally 0.02 seconds. 0.02 seconds at what might be the closest that we have ever seen.
That's the difference of a slightly worse keyboard. That's insane. Now, we get to see what the response is. As I said, traded rounds. That's sort of the MO. That's the game that we're massively enjoying out of this so far. I kind of want another OT. I kind of want it to go all the way, and I kind of want to have more bloodshed about it. We're getting these players starting to get in. We're getting these players start to get themselves off. You know, you want Grixer and Kobe to maybe find a kill or 2 each across this round, really get everybody a full taste and see what else they have. to carry on that consistency. There's Surf removing Pamba.
Canadian has survived long enough to be able to have some level of impact, but you're going to hear this shield op coming from a mile away. The hard work that was done earlier in the round by Grixer on that soft wall, now hard wall, obviously being shown off. Kobilax getting picked away at. I don't know who it was that did all that damage. There is a Doc with 2 stim pistols. Beaulo favors this op time and time again, especially on this armory bomb site. Canadian will square away and lose the engagement. Ambi is not close enough to follow up. He almost loses his life as well. Huge value from NJR as the diffuser will need to be retrieved. There's Kobilax back up from the dead. Gumine stuck in the foot of Grixer in the final 30 seconds of the round, unfolding as Ambi gets the diffuser down. Beaulo swatted away. This one might be over sooner than we thought. Diffuser does not go down, but Ambi gets the final kill, and that's the round for Soniqs. Rexen, I believe, is from Cali, I want to say, but I'm not entirely certain. Either way, fatigue does just begin to set in. If you woke up at a normal human time today, so say like 9 o'clock, 8 o'clock, like a lot of people do, you've been awake now for about 14 hours, and these have been pretty grueling hours for you if you've been scrimming. First kill, by the way, goes against SQ. They lose Ambi, they trade it back by getting rid of Nafe. That's the Oryx off the board.
Ooh, Kobe. Oh no! I was gonna say he caught them unaware, but Rexen had stepped back, almost anticipating, I think, his ace charge, the Selma, to open, and then he could aim down the barrel of it, but instead, because he got taken out, the game was given up, and he still tried to swing into it. Now it's the cost of material, but instead of it being a sneaky swing, you instead made the statement you hoped the player's back was turned, and it was not. Beaulo gets Surf. Canadian almost got the back of Beaulo. The Doctor gets himself back up, is just dancing with these tight corners. There's a 1 versus 1, and CC goes into Pamba's favor. Gets rid of Rexen. 3 versus 2, and they, have a decent bit of utility here to at least get some coverage. But the coverage is Beaulo's. Swings the corner, finds Grixer, leaves Canadian alone. A man and his bees. Like a sad children's book with a fairy tale ending. Isn't the actual end of the world. There was a trick where you could sort of get anything on that soft, which is why it gets destroyed. So instead, they still have to have another sort of flag waving, go upstairs, go upstairs. Look towards the pressure on CC and security. At this point, just still getting some of the ideas that, well, it's a bit bare, it's a bit barren, you know, the hole that they want to do, and someone's exploring outside somewhere at least. There's an entrance happening on the back of the site. There's some motion inside. There's the Warden getting a reveal. There's them being forced off by the Capital bolt, and they're using this to plant slightly off around the corner. They're trying to close back in. Pamba gets one. Rexen is gone. They're spraying through the wall, and they've been able to successfully get it together here. The shotgun trying to get the lockdown on the soft wall. They've slowly backed out of their Canadian, but they're not out of the woods yet. Grixer gets the lockdown, swinging further and further with the pistol, but what do you do at this point? You never technically lost the verticality, but you did lose that one to Ambi. Swings round with Surf getting another, and Soniqs from a single Capital bolt cleared the space and made the most of it. This game is the equivalent to a fist fight outside of an establishment at 3 in the morning. It would be...
We call that Waffle House.
It's that, because it would be just as intense if no one was watching, right? It would be a full send, full passion, get your hands in there and see what can come out. The C4 gets Beaulo on the window. The Deimos is dancing back and forth, but Surf says, yeah, I'm here, mate. Square up. If you're feeling froggy, leap. And Nafe now alone in a 1 versus 4.
Nafe will instead patrol looking over towards east and now swing through office. While I wonder if the rest of the team is talking shop. I mean, Nafe is the leader on the team. If there's anybody to talk strategy, it should be him. But instead, they're just going to let it play out. Never mind. Ambi pops up. He sees Nafe, gets the read through office. And the very first round of the second half goes to SQ, who gain the lead. They sit up top. And once again, they wait very patiently for somebody on Soniqs to give them anything. But SQ has been far too patient on their defenses.
3 smoke canisters, now 2 C4s, and you worry how this is going to go when you tack on the idea of maybe the frost mats and the Legion. This isn't really the best point of route through, and Pamba gets Canadian as Nafe goes down, and the kit was in his pockets too. They have time to try and recollect it. Pamba gets another. DarkZero keeps that energy, and Nafe is back to his feet. This deep cross angle, but it's caught by Ambi from underneath. 11-3, still tearing his way through, still a halfway to the best of 3 kill record potentially. Grixer gets the C4, Soniqs still somehow fighting back every step. They've got to recollect the kit now. Nafe traipsing their way. It was a frost map that downed them, so they're hobbling for the rest of this round and the rest of the time because they got themselves out of it. Beaulo has some safety of the site, has some of the cross angle, can cover some of it, but he's got to be quick and he's got to have the catch perfect. Nafe, it's not that he doesn't trust it, but it's that they couldn't stop it. DarkZero, they are ghosts floating around, just making enough of a presence to make them fear every direction, but not enough to give them the fight. It's Pamba, who has very consistently over the past couple of rounds been that one from DarkZero who's gotten a kill or 2, but they just haven't been able to trust the fight yet as much as they are scaring with the Halloween energy. Soniqs are the one that have got the kills at the end of the day. You can see some of the damage starting to done. The call to back it up, 50 seconds, and the first one is Ambi to strike. Drops NJR, and Pamba knocks Ambi out of the whole map itself. A 40-second 4 versus 4. Slowly turns away as Pamba gets another. Beaulo, massively hurt, but still standing. They try and creep their way down. Nafe finding Surf. Grixer finding Nafe. Right back and forth. The pressure's still on the plants. They have the man disadvantage, but it's going to turn into a 2 versus 2. Canadian spray in the window, putting the fear into them. Looks for the fight on the rafters, but Pamba had the game guessed. As I said, he's been the player, the force that keeps them fighting in it, and Grixer missed the moment. Kobe from the top ropes. They're not entirely trying to check and face check every engagement now at this point. Soniqs, they've sort of kept that steady idea they had and played well with on Chalet, where they're giving parts of the territory over, saying, look, we know you're going to want this, we know you're going to expect this, we'll pull ourselves a bit cautiously back. Control of East Stairs and stepping through with the swing, just pre-firing the break wall. But it's Ambi to get NJR and Rexin to get Beaulo, and Soniqs that are able to smash their way through, so now you've got to try and turn on the engines and see if you can get the afterburners all the way through. Pamba finds Canadian. Ambi massively hurt. They've been able to shift this round somehow. DarkZero claimed 3 bodies out of the back of 2 being lost on their lead in. They lose their Ying, lose their Dokkaebi. And from then on, still find success until Ambi steps closer and closer before he's knocked out of it. A 2 versus 1. Surf. All that's left to try and keep this in their favor, keep this off of an even game, get themselves on towards map and series point.
DarkZero frankly needs to win this round if Ambi wants a shot, but victory is what SQ wants. Diffuser almost goes down, but they think otherwise of it. They need to figure out where Surf is, or else DarkZero can get caught with their pants down.
This is the right idea. Push up. Kobe gets the kill. We're tied up 5 apiece, Parker.
Spectacular to see. Certainly making up for the deficiencies that Canadian has had, and I say this with quite a smile. So far through this series, Ambi dies immediately to Kobe, so this will be a little bit more challenging. They walk in, dispatch Ambi. It's almost as if they heard what I was talking about and took it personally.
Holding on and waiting for the next point of call. I love that when when DarkZero got that kill, they immediately fled the scene, got out of there, no witnesses. And 1 less. Okay, we've cursed both of the 2 players on the kill record chance. Spambo was the next to go, but Grixer does find Nafe. Soniqs, for the first time in a little bit of time, have been able to get this body clear of their opponents. They're able to get themselves stepped up with a chance of maybe doubling down onto engagements. The boss, gee, both of them miss out, and Canadian does not. Kobe goes. The bottom of the eastern stairs. Feels like we're pushing our way towards Soniqs on the stop. There's the flashes close round on the corner. They want to dive in with the pistol. They find the end of Canadian, but they get down from the spray through the wall. A lot of time, but a 1 versus 3, and you're in a bit of an uncomfortable situation here, and you think about where the side is, you're still taking fights down below.
Final minute to go, and it's NJR with multiple silhouettes lined up behind the lumber. We'll have to do some wood shedding. As he now rotates around, Rexen shuts him down, and Soniqs will move to match point. Series point.
It's just...
It is really quite insane. Just to add to your point, Pambazoo is the only positive player or the only player on DarkZero with a positive KD, and they are 1 round away from tying things up. That is ridiculous. Grixer is positive, Rexen is tied, Surf is tied, Ambi is positive. The kills are unequivocally favoring Soniqs so far. But I mean, it's not all just about kills. Who was it yesterday? Was it DZ where they only won 2 rounds or something like that on Clubhouse? And they did it with very minimal kills. They had like 4 or 3 kills in the span of 2 or 3 rounds. It was quite dreadful. This is a game where kills are not the whole story. DZ desperately needs to win this round to prolong the matchup. Canadian dies, a tale as old as time. Ambi goes down as well. If this is the final round, the kill record will be safe. But that also relies on Soniqs' final 3 players to kill the 5 remaining from DZ, none of whom have taken any damage at this point, which for attackers is really quite something. 5v3 favoring DarkZero with just a little bit over a minute to go, and overtime seeming more and more likely.
The Surgeon's incision on towards border, as you said. Aim and conquered. They've been able to pull themselves back. A play that I complimented them on before, their ability to get out of dodge. But the worry here could potentially be Rexen on the Oryx. The ability to snap your way back round and change up what they expect of the hole, change up what they expect of the position. The blitz charges on through and Grixer goes down. There's Surf dropping on towards Pamba and getting the kill, but if they hit the air jab and rotate their way out, can they confirm the player they got the down on? I think they were able to hit the hatch. Grixer was, and they're crawling for their life. In this time, the plant, they're going to see if they can try and get it confirmed. They're still hunting players underneath. Beaulo doesn't just want to swing onto this, gets the final, but look how far away now the 2 remaining defenders are. They're really playing this as a sort of response take at this. Maybe going to try and take the verticality once again, pre-firing the angle to stop them coming in, but they don't have the stop on Rexen. Look at the timer! Soniqs! Oh, they were close! They were close with a way that we would have seen reflected from how the best of 1 ended when these 2 teams met on Skyscraper, but no, not yet, not quite. We are on our 3rd overtime. And Pambas is a little bit further out, but I mean, who knows at this point, really. As you can clearly see on the stats, they've been doing the heavy lifting on killing people on their team. Soniqs has it a little bit more evenly spread, but Ambi's been shut out both of the most recent rounds without them being able to get anything on towards that 16 score, so maybe that'll give them a moment of rest. Toby's been able to find a couple of bodies recently as they're eyeing up where this first point is. DarkZero, their most recent attacks have been quite sharp. They've made sure they pulled themselves back from the brink. They sort of smash in and take a body, and NJR, the frustration. You can see it there, he's caught by a C4. It's the first time we've had a proper NJR react camp.
That does not bode well for DarkZero as they get collapsed upon. 1 kill for Ambi as he gets turned on over towards Fountain. He's still in this position, but a hard wall separates him and Pambazoo, both of them finding a kill in this round. Ambi finished off by Beaulo as the numbers will now equalize. Canadian joins his teammates in the grave. Grixer down 2. It's all up to Surf to hold this together. Use whatever wave, simile, metaphor, euphemism, whatever you want.
That
round is ended by DarkZero. They sit on match point. They set a very quick pace on that round, and they are now 1 away from topping North America. All we know is that we can confirm that Ambi is 2 kills away from tying the record. That is tantalizingly close. For him, you have to think the probability will go up if this round is won by Soniqs, because then he will have 2 rounds to pull it off. He was 4 kills away 3 rounds ago. He has only been able to muster a single kill since then. Maybe it's the caster curse, maybe not. But While we talk about that, and again, lots of storylines active, the big one is which of these two teams who are so clearly evenly matched will end up as the best of NA.
This first engagement, so important, and it's almost the run out that gets it, but it's Rexen to get Beaulo, punishing him for the play that he's made a couple of times. Surf finds Pamba, no more for him. This round puts us into the 5 versus 3. I said that first engagement would be important. The second was almost instantaneous as the double down on the punishment of failed death mark because they sit on a mute jammer. The angles as you go for the drop are what they're trying to surround themselves in here for. Surf finds Nafe. A 5-2. NJR suffers a bit of a scrap here on the door at Customs with Grixer getting the end. Kobe, all that is left to keep this off of Max OT, gets one. But gets dropped on by Ambi. We're going all the way, Parker.
I cannot believe this. I genuinely cannot believe this. How long this series has been going for. We're at almost 4 hours in this series between these two teams, back and forth with one of the closest clutches we've ever seen. 2 players on the verge of breaking the kill record, and at stake is the first overall seed for the NA League as to which of these squads goes to Montreal in a favorable position.
Angles onto break. Angles onto east stairs. They have to pull on a player, and a Gumine would have slowed down the roll there. So lucky they spotted it before Pamba went for the execute. Throwing it down into the corridor, moving right behind it. There's the pressure onto the Selma. They want to keep going, keep driving, and well, Soniqs don't want to find out what happens next. They have just left.
Yeah, I think it was Rexen who was the first line of defense playing underneath 90, and he rightly read that it was time to go. You've held map control for about a minute. That's okay. You also committed to a defense that now required 2 Candelas and a bunch of hard destruction to be done. 1 Selma taken out of the pocket of Kobe. The recruit of Striker has not been a fixture for DarkZero, but will emerge very quickly. Grixer taking out Kobe Lax. Kobe Lax effectiveness will be discussed and is probably a big reason why DZ has had a small step back. The very first kill going to Soniqs is huge with half of the round to go.
I'm still looking at that kill feed. Ambi needs 1 at this point. Pamba needs 3. And with a minute to get it settled, both of these teams just need 1. Nafe takes a bit of damage. They're going for the drop. Pamba's got himself some very shaky control, but as Rexen gets Beaulo, it's Pamba to get Rexen as an immediate response here. They're concerned about the fight that's starting to crash right against them. Pamba gets Canadian. He's only 1 away from getting it tied, I believe, at this point, but they still need to hold some of this territory. Nafe is looking for a drop from below, and it's Ambi that just slips on by, hits the bars, not the player. It's long-range firefights, forcing, shepherding, waiting for somebody to step 1 foot wrong and then be put to bed. They keep pushing all the way up to the wall. The plant is being confirmed. Nafe on the back line. There's no response until Surf hits it from deep. Surf gets 2! A single player, it's Pamba with no health, and Abby, he ties it up! I don't know if it's fully fact-checked. I don't know how he ended. We have Soniqs confirmed as first place. I think we have another player tied up on the kill record. We might even have 2, Parker. What a way for it to go.
We need confirmation, obviously, on Panbazoo's position, but of course, how poetic it is that it's Ambi to get the very final kill to vault Soniqs to first seed in the NA League. They will be at the top when it comes to the Montreal Major, and with him by the hair of their chinny chin chins, 8-7, 8-7, 8-7, all 15 rounds, Soniqs comes out ahead.
That was a fucking long one, bro.
That was brutal, bro. Dude, that was fucking brutal. That was one of the best of threes I've just seen in general. I mean,
Yeah, no,
Max,
that was regardless of the outcome, that was good. That was good. I mean,
Yeah.
bro, with a scoreline like that, literally one small thing, and like, yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah.
That was fun. That was fun. Hey, it's all good. Second place, all good.
It is what it is. All good.
All good.
Nothing but a little bit more prize money.
Dude, that
Yo,
NJR fucking
Was it-
defuse,
wait, was it-
that was fucking
Dude,
crazy.
NJR had so
that
many
was
clutches,
nuts.
bro. Like,
That was the closest one like I've ever seen defusing wise.
Yeah,
For sure.
it
Yeah.
borderline
Dude, on
looked like
our
it shouldn't
side-
have worked.
yeah, on our side, it looked like he started at like 694 or 695.
Really?
I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
it's GG. Yeah, literally, that's what.
Yeah, they ran it up for us. Come on.
I think
Yeah, he's
the
rounding
like
up a little bit.
animation was still starting at 7, but technically it started at 7. I think that's why.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Obviously, pretty long series. How do you think the team handled the fatigue that naturally sets in this type of environment?
Wow, what a great interview question.
Wow, fantastic.
I mean, dude, our mental's fucking rock hard, bro. You can't get through
Dude,
it.
and
Can't
NJR
get
would
through it.
clutch, and he'd start typing, and he looked like he was about to commit murder. Like
Yeah.
he was
That's
stone
what-
cold.
Bro, are you? If you're not typing it for a clutch, are you really clutching?
No,
That is true.
I 100% agree
Ugh.
with that. You're not clutching if you're not.
I mean, yeah,
typing.
it just sucks. It was only really bad after the Chalet one, because it's like, win the first one, barn burner,
Yeah.
Chalet, fucking, there was times where we should have won it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is what it is.
Same with Border.
Because it could have just been literally then and there done, 2-0. Could
Yeah.
have been a 2-0 rather than a 1-2, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's how it goes.
What was the most hilarious thing or the best thing that you saw typed in chat? Because we didn't get to see it all. So what was the most hilarious or
I wish there was shown
funniest
more.
or
Dude.
best thing that you saw in chat?
I don't know. I honestly just think it was probably whenever fucking Rexon was typing for Grixer in the 1v3 for Nick. He's
Yeah.
like, where could he be?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And then,
found
and then
him.
fucking loses, and he fucking loses. I just love it.
What did NJR say after that? We
I
didn't
don't
get to see it.
remember. I don't know. It's like, what are we doing here? I'm like, what are we doing here? It was something like that. That literally felt like a fucking grand finals of a goddamn.
It did.
Yeah, it felt
It
as
felt
about
like
as
a grand
long
final
as.
to us.
Yeah. Yes. Literally insane. And it's just some fucking. It was literally for fucking what? Maybe 10 SI points. Fucking.
Yeah. Like 24 grand.
Granted, it was it was
And a
24
hoodie.
grand throughout
To
the
make a
team.
hoodie.
Oh, you're right. And a hoodie. Yeah.
And they all
was on the
staged
line.
whatever champs. Yeah.
Yeah. But that was too fucking. That was too good of a match for what it was.
That should have been like a fucking grand final fucking end game. That was
Yeah. No, 100%, 100%, or like fucking semis to grand
There's
finals.
so many
really.
clutches and like just crazy shit. all over
Yeah,
the
it was
place.
fucking sick, bro.
Yeah,
It was
like
fucking
oversized.
sick. And what the crazy thing is, like, who knows if we'll even see that, like, fucking, Soniqs DZ in a grand finals? Who even knows?
That's true. That might be.
Dude, that'd be the ultimate storyline. You guys in grand finals at the
Yeah.
Montreal Major.
Yeah.
That'd be pretty crazy.
And then
Real.
it goes all 5 maps, and then we have to do all 5 maps on the co-stream, and
Yeah,
it
but
stays
yeah.
up for 24
75
hours straight.
rounds. Next time you guys play is in like a month, right? Because that's when the major
For the
is.
major, yeah.
Jeez. So what's the plan for the next month for you guys? What do you guys got going on?
Take a vacation.
Where are you going? Where's your vacation?
I'll be around.
The team
don't
house.
worry about me.
Do you actually
Don't
get
worry
it?
about it.
Do you actually get a break, or
Well,
are you
we'll
going
probably-
right
we'll
back to the mines?
No, we probably don't. We actually have to leave town for a little bit for some content.
Content? What the fuck? Are you
Yeah.
TSM?
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
crazy. That's crazy.
Basically.
That's crazy.
I mean, yeah, shit, dog. It's fucking good game. Fucking could have been ours.
That's
It was
pretty
theirs.
gas.
It is what it is. It is what it is. But rather it fucking be here than a grand final. So hopefully we just learn from it and fucking
We
Ball up.
learn
Ball
and
up
we
in
do better
Montreal.
next time, and that we win the
Yeah.
tournament.
yep.
Ball
Yep.
up, ball up, ball up.
Smother me in gravy and throw some cheese curds. I'm going to Montreal.
I'm about to bust.
Thank you guys for watching. Sadly, we didn't win, but it is what it is. Montreal
Hey,
made
you
next.
guys put on a
Next
great
one, next
show.
one, next one.
Yeah, that's all.
Fantastic
Yeah,
That
show.
was.
That was a great
I'm sure
show.
that
That was
was
fun as
sick to
shit.
watch.
It
I'm
was
sure
sick.
That was
to
sick to
watch.
watch.
Yeah.
Bro, yeah. We were all clenching.
All right.
around.
Diamonds have
Peace.
been pressed.
Goodbye. Good night. Goodbye. Good night.
Peace.
Goodbye. Goodbye.
Bye bye.
Good night. Good night.